Okay, this is going to be the explanation a little bit further about the pirouette arms that we're starting to include now. We were turning at the bar right before we left, so we want to try and work and continue that, especially now that we've gotten a little bit more in depth with our port de bras. If you do need a check-in with your port de bras, I'm just going to ask that you refer to the basic port de bras video that talks about our first and our second position, we'll talk a little bit more about the arabesque position, which is kind of where we're going to focus on more now. So if you need to go and do that check-in first, you can do that and then come back to this when you're ready, or if you just want to dive in, right? So our arms are going to be helping us for our turn by giving us momentum, getting us to go around. They're also going to be one of the things that holds us in place. If you think about when it comes into turning, we really have to think about our body being a force against the air, right? Even though it seems pretty scientific, it really is. We are moving our space, our matter, through the air. So there's going to be resistance, and then there's also going to be what our body is doing while it's moving. So there's a lot of moving parts that comes with turning. It can be a very involved process. It's a very activated process from head to toe. So what we're focusing on right now is we're understanding where our arms and a little bit of our upper body is going to be in that place in order for us to turn safely and us to turn effectively. So we come through a few positions that we're familiar with. We come in through the first, we come through the second, and then we come into our arabesque position, which is where we've been working on. Like I said, there are a few different ways to come into this position based on your training. Some folks come in with rounded arms, some folks come flat and then come in back rounded. So I was trained RAD, Royal Academy, and then I do have a little bit of experience with Cicchetti and Vaganova. So those are some different schools, Italian and Russian, that were influenced. So I'm going to be showing you a flat to a rounded turn versus the arm staying rounded the whole time. That's where I'm coming from. If you feel more comfortable doing other schools of thought that you've learned from or other trainings, feel free. But either way, the concepts and us getting to turn are still going to meet in the middle, right? So I just wanted to preface that before we go into this. So we're going to be working through the first position out to the second position. So my arms are lifting from the elbows and the shoulders are staying down. So I'm activating my scapula and my wings back there already. My shoulders are down, my chest is lifted, and my eyes are lifted as well. When I reach to the second, when I prepare, I'm reaching in front of me on the outside of my sphere. I don't want to get behind me, because now that's going to start shifting and my rib cage is going to come out of place, right? So I don't want to push forward and create this expansion. I'm really just asking my upper body to stay straight and tall and centered, right? Like we talked about a top. This is the middle of the top, and we don't see tops that have a curve in the middle, right? Because then they wouldn't be able to spin around themselves, right? Same thing, I love using ice skaters as an example. When they come in for very tight turns, you see that their body is nice and straight and tall. You don't see too much of this unless it's for a really specific technique turn, right? When we're trying to create the place to stay in turning, you see that the upper body stays where it is. So you can also think about ice skaters in that way when you're reaching forward. Now we turn our palms, right? So here comes this section. It doesn't matter what arm you reach to the front or to the side for me. I'm going to take this arm and I'm going to place it in the front. It's going to be in my arabesque position, which is one palm down. My other palm is also going to turn. So now we're in that arabesque position that we've been working on just a little bit with one arm flat in the front and the side, okay? Okay, so now that we have those positions, right, we have our first, we open to second, and then we come into our preparation, one arm front, one arm side, both palms are down. Now here comes the physics part, right? The science part of it. What we want to do is we want to create that opening and shutting of a door. That's your momentum, right? That's you turning the key of the engine. That's you striking the match. That's you slamming the door, right? There's almost that backward to go forward motion, same as a punch, right? We have to come from somewhere to go forward. So in order for us to turn, we do need to open to close, right? Because we're opening our body, we're accessing that momentum, and then we're gonna bring it in, just like those ice skaters do, right? So our momentum is gonna come from the arms. So I'm going to open and then shut the door. And you can see that I come back to first position right in front of me. I didn't go behind my rib cage. I didn't travel anywhere else in my upper body. I'm just asking my arms to open and then shut as fast as I can. You want your whole arm to be activated. I'm talking biceps, triceps, forearms. It's all engaged. This is an active position. Turning is an active motion. It's not just the feet pushing to the ground and one foot coming up in the air and seeing how far you get around. This is a very thought out, engaged process. So when we're turning, I'm opening my arms, I'm reaching for all the energy, and now I'm gathering it and I'm getting it as close to my body as I can. When I create this space right here, in my first position and my engaged arms and my back, that creates a space for me to turn around. I'm setting myself up so that way I could just stay here, right? I also had a teacher tell me that however long you can balance is how many turns you can do, right? Because if you're balancing on one foot that way, that is the same structure that you need your body to turn in. So if that's helpful, right, when we're standing on one foot by the end of frappes, right, I'm telling you to lift out of your standing side, the rest of your spine is nice and straight, your arms are engaged, and your eyes and your chin are lifted. That's the same position that you want to be for turning, because then momentum just takes care of the rest. It just happens, right? So if we set that all up for success, all we need is a little bit of momentum and then we can turn. So by getting that momentum, we're reaching the arm forward and to the side, to the diagonal. I'm not going past my rib cage. It's right to my diagonal. And then I'm opening and shutting. Reaching forward, opening and shutting, right? That motion will make a little bit more sense when we come in with the feet. Remember, when you're doing this, I want you can practice just by coming from first to second, fourth, open, shut. You can just stay here, second to fourth, open, shut. Second, turn the palms, reach, grab, okay? Whatever words are gonna stick to you and make sense, I want you to try both sides. So then the opposite arm reaches front, it'll reach to the diagonal, and then we shut and bring it in. We're not gonna, so think about the space behind you being inaccessible. There's a wall right by your hips, all the way up. So you can't go past that, right? If there was a wall right here, I can't go past it. I can't go back behind me. So that's where I need to stay to come in. So let's not get behind ourselves. Let's stay in front of ourselves, okay? Once again, practicing that, both sides, because you're gonna be using the same foot as an arm to turn and help propel you and get you ready for those turns. Okay, that's the arms. Those are practice, both sides. And then we'll talk about adding feet next week for pirouettes.